Let's continue then and go back to the Eastern Cape, in fact. And for more on the ANC Eastern Cape conference, we're joined by our reporter, our senior reporter, Samkele Maseko, who is in the Eastern Cape indeed for us this afternoon. A very good afternoon to you, Samkele. Well, we were seeing visuals from where we are of what seems to be a celebratory mood. It seems as though, people are celebrating the fact that Oscar Mabuyane has retained his position. Talk to us about the atmosphere. Of course, there were those who didn't vote for Oscar Mabuyane, and I wonder how they are reacting at this time. Take us through today's, the main events of today, really.
Essentially, the election of Oscar Mabuyane as the provincial chairperson of the Eastern Cape, his re-election for a second term, comes at a time where he was going head-to-head against his former provincial treasurer, Babalo Matigizela, who has indicated that he will be definitely leaving government. And the ANC leadership in the province has said that Zolile Matthews will be leaving the municipality where he's a municipal manager in the Joe Gabi region. But I'll bring him to further expand on his future. Mr. Matthews, just the essence, Mr. Williams rather, just the essence of you leaving as a municipal manager. The Structures Act, it may have been repealed by the Constitutional Court, but the ANC has a standing resolution that bureaucrats do not participate in the political sphere. Your response, sir?
Thank you, Samkele. Samkele, what is going to happen is that in the next few weeks, I will be rounding up my work with the municipality and preparing a handover report and actually submitting my resignation to the executive mayor of the council. In terms of the systems amendment, yes, the Constitutional Court set the Amendment Act aside on the 20th of March 2020. And currently, the National Assembly is busy finalizing the new amendment. And I'm sure you are aware that all parties have accepted the proposed amendment, and it will soon be out for public comments. For now, there's no immediate violation of the Systems Amendment Act. However, indeed, the ANC policy is that all municipal bureaucrats should not be partisan and party political. Now, I will be winding up in order to ensure that we comply with the systems amendment and ensure that the space is left for suitable candidates to take over and continue with the good work we've been performing in Jogabi.
The outgone provincial treasurer and contender for provincial chairperson says he's definitely leaving government. He's been engaging with the ANC leadership for the past 2 years. It's just a matter of time. You are resigning as a municipal manager. Where to from now? Because in essence, you are saying we have to move to East London now. Are you going to be taking up a position in the legislature should it become available with Mr. Matigizela leaving governance from the legislative part and from the executive? Are you going to be an MPL very soon?
No, I am not sure. The ANC will decide what it does with its member. For now, I can't say what I'm going to be, but what is clear is that I must leave the municipality so that I comply with the rules. Because Samkele renewal talks about us being quick in taking correct decisions and ensuring that we implement them swiftly so that you don't hold on to something that is awkward in terms of ANC policy. You will not be responding to renewal. So my view is that the sooner I leave the space so that there's no challenge in terms of ANC alignment with its policies and my participation in the municipality. So my view is that the sooner the better, but the ANC will see what it does with its member, because I've got a task to perform. As you are aware, we have challenges as the ANC in terms of fundraising and funding. So one has to face that task with eagerness and seriousness in order to change the situation for the better.
Mr. Williams, Mr. Babalo Matigizela is leaving. has indicated, have you, as the newly elected leadership, do you have that sort of idea what you will then do now in engaging Mr. Matikizela, as he's publicly said now that he wants to leave the executive and the legislature?
Yeah, remember, Samkele, in line with ANC process, there will be a handover meeting between the previous officials and the new officials. And then I will have to get the details of what was obtaining in the past. And then I will take it from there to look at the challenges and how I deal and address those challenges. Obviously, not as an individual, but working with the team and the collective. So I think let's wait and see what happens once I get the handover report, because those details will be actually telling me what is it that is happening, whether can we live for the next month or not. That's a new challenge that I will have to live with as the ANC.
Mr. Williams, the question is on the part of Mr. Matikizela being the MEC of Public Works in the province.
Yes.
He's expressed a desire to resign.
Yes.
And to leave the provincial legislature. Have you, as the now newly elected officials of the ANC, pondered on how you are going to deal with that in making sure that there are no ripple effects in saying that he's leaving because of sour grapes or he's leaving because there are divisions within the province?
Okay. Look, Samkele, I think the Premier and the chairperson of the province has actually said clearly that there will be performance assessment to all the leaders because we are close to mid-term of the 6th administration. So let's await that process, and mostly MECs are on an invitation by the Premier to serve in the cabinet. So if Comrade Babalo would want to leave government, I think that will have to be discussed with the Premier and the collective. But as we have said, it's not our intention for anyone to leave the ANC. If we are real about renewal, not because you have not been elected, you should leave the space of governing. As long as you have the requisite capacity and skills to perform, it is my view that those comrades must be kept to do what they are good at, because this chop and change when people have got capacity is not good in the renewal program. However, we want to be genuine in saying, you know, if there are weaknesses and challenges, let's look at that genuinely as ANC members so that we avoid anger and unhappiness unnecessarily because of our, hatred and intention to make one feel pained because he has contested the conference. In fact, these tendencies of purging people actually count against ANC internal democracy. People in the ANC must be able to stand for election and be nominated and elected. It's not a sin to stand. However, because of greed and how sometimes we are transformed by the state, of which we wanted for a long time to resist being transformed by the state into what we are not. These tendencies of incumbency somewhat lead to these processes of factionalism and purging, because the strength of factionalism is actually the greed in what happens in government. So those tendencies have to be dealt with in the context of this renewal. So I'm saying, therefore, once we focus on those things and we become objective, we will have a peaceful ANC, because that's what the people of South Africa want. They deserve a better ANC and an ANC that is in peace with itself.
Thank you very much, Mr. Zolile Williams, who is the newly elected provincial treasurer of the ANC, who says she will be making an assessment as the entire executive of the ANC that has been elected as the officials of the party, with government and with the premier. And Babalo Matikizela, the contender for the provincial chairpersonship position, who lost out against Oscar Mabuyane, says he has expressed from 2 years ago a desire to leave government and go back to full-time business.
Yeah, Samkele, before we let you go, and I know it's quite noisy where you are at the moment, but just give us an indication in terms of when there is expectation of President Cyril Ramaphosa, of course in his capacity as ANC president, to then come and address the delegates and the Eastern Cape. Of course, the ANC Eastern Cape this afternoon. We had understood that he would be speaking in the next about 30 minutes or so, but is there any sort of indication or any changes from your side, as of course you are there at this time?
At this point in time, it's not yet clear when the ANC president will be coming to close this specific conference. They did say he'd address at 4 o'clock, but he is yet to arrive at this venue here at the International Convention Center. As I'm just looking outside, I see that there has been some clearance and there is some movement, and there are lots of security of the Presidential Protection Services of President Cyril Ramaphosa now hovering around the precinct, which would mean that he may have indeed arrived now in East London and may just be a few minutes or so from making his way to the conference venue to address the conference and close it. But there is some movement when it comes to his protection services, but his convoy is yet to arrive here at the International Convention Center, which would mean that his address would probably be delayed by an hour or two. But we do know that it's Mondays today, and Mondays is usually ANC Mondays. That you have their top 6 meetings in the morning. Then I would assume, in fact, today is an NWC meeting. They would be having an NWC later on in the afternoon, if it is indeed today. But indeed, they are having their ANC Mondays. They are taking stock of the various conferences, issues of governance, as well as the governing party as the top officials. But he is definitely making his way here to come and close this conference. Their officials meeting may also be delayed today because of the mining in Durban out in Cape Town, where the ANC's national chairperson and also Minister of Mineral Resources and Energy, Gwede Mantashe, is also there. As Lubaba Oscar Maboyane had said that he was meant to be at that mining in Durban today, but he's also held up in this ANC conference.
All right, Samkele, let's leave it there. We'll catch up with you later on. And of course, we'll be crossing to East London in the Eastern Cape as soon as President Cyril Ramaphosa does indeed arrive at that conference venue. And as you've heard from Samkele, there is some sort of movement indicating that the president is indeed on his way or shortly to arrive.